Listen to Anne of Green Gables by Lucy Maud Montgomery, Level A2, Oxford Reading University.
Part 1.
Matthew and Marilla Cuthbert were brother and sister. They lived in the town of Avonlea on an island in eastern Canada. There they had a small farm called Green Gables. Matthew was very shy and quiet and avoided people, but he was very kind and good-natured. Marilla wasn't as nice as her brother. She got angry easily. Even her face was square and hard, but there was something about her lips that suggested a kind heart. The Cuthberts were not young. Marilla was 55, and Matthew was 60. They needed help on the farm, so they decided to take a boy from Mrs. Spencer's children's home. One day, Matthew went to the station to pick up the boy. However, he couldn't find anyone at the station. Only a little girl sat at the end of the platform. She was about 11 years old. She wore a dirty dress and an old hat. 2 bright red braids fell down her back. "Are you Mr. Matthew Cuthbert of Green Gables?" she asked with a smile. Is she the child from Mrs. Spencer's children's home? Matthew thought. But she isn't a boy. Still, I can't leave her here alone. It is getting dark. He took the girl's hand and led her to his carriage. On their way to the farm, the girl couldn't stop talking for a second. "You know, I have never left the children's home," she was saying. "Of course, Mrs. Spencer and the others were lovely people, but they never let me dream as much as I wanted. You know, my biggest dream is to get a beautiful white dress. I have never had one, and it will make me look pretty. Right now I am too thin, and I have freckles on my face, but my red hair is the worst. It is so bright that I can't even hope that it will change color." They arrived at Green Gables by evening. "This is the prettiest home I have ever seen," Anne cried excitedly. 2. "Who is she?" Marilla cried angrily when she saw the girl. "Where is the boy?"
Read real-life conversations, listen to audiobooks, and learn new words with the Iwa app. So many different books and English stories for all levels, with translations and transcriptions. Check out appiwa.com.
"There was no boy," Matthew replied quietly. "Perhaps Mrs. Spencer made a mistake. But I couldn't leave a little girl alone at the station, Marilla." "A girl is of no use on the farm," Marilla said. "We need a boy." "You don't want me because I am not a boy," the girl cried suddenly. "Nobody ever wanted me. I was so stupid to believe that my dream could come true." And she started crying. Marilla and Matthew looked at each other worriedly. Then Marilla said, "There is no need to cry over that little girl. What is your name?" "Cordelia," the girl replied. Marilla looked at her in surprise. "All right, it is Anne Shirley," the girl said in a low voice, "but I like Cordelia more. It sounds like a name from a book. Anne sounds very ordinary, but at least it ends with an E. It makes the name a bit more interesting." After dinner, Marilla showed Anne into her bedroom. The room seemed very cold and empty, although it was very clean. Anne felt lonely. She threw herself on the bed and cried herself to sleep. Down in the kitchen, Matthew and Marilla had a little argument. "We must send her back to the children's home," Marilla said. "Or we can keep her," Matthew suggested. "She is a lovely girl, Marilla, and she seems to like Green Gables a lot." But what good can a girl do on the farm? Marilla asked angrily. Perhaps we can do something good for her, Matthew replied with a smile. 3. At breakfast, Anne sat by the window. "The garden is so wonderful," she said, "but I am not going to play there. I don't want to fall in love with this place, because if I do, it will be extremely hard to leave. I wish I were a boy and could stay here. But if I can't stay, I will dream about this place when I am back in the children's home. It is so lovely in the morning. The world doesn't seem such a lonely, scary desert." Marilla didn't let her finish. "Will you shut your mouth for a second?" she asked angrily. After breakfast, Marilla began to prepare the horses. She was going to take Anne back to Mrs. Spencer. The moment they rode off the farm, Anne said, "You know, I am going to enjoy this ride. Even if I hate to return to the children's home, I can still have a lovely ride. I have learned one thing from my own experience. No matter how awful the situation, you can still enjoy yourself if you think about nice things." "If you are going to talk anyway, at least talk to some purpose," Marilla said. "Tell me about yourself." "My life hasn't been very interesting," Anne said with a smile. "Let me tell you what my dream life looks like." "No, I want certain facts about your past," Marilla replied. "All right," Anne said quietly. "I know that my parents died of fever when I was a baby. Mrs. Thomas, a neighbor, decided to take me. I could help her raise her 4 children. Mr. Thomas drank heavily. He died when I was 8. His mother decided to take in Mrs. Thomas and her children, but she didn't want me. And then Mrs. Spencer took me to her children's home." "Did you go to school?" Marilla asked. "I went a little," Anne replied, "but the school was far away from Mrs. Thomas's house. So finally, I had to give it up. But I love reading. I have read quite a lot of books." "And was Mrs. Thomas kind to you?" Marilla asked. "Well, I am sure she wanted to be kind," Anne said, "but she had so many things to worry about, you know. It is very hard to live with a drinking husband." Marilla fell quiet. For the first time, she felt sorry for Anne. "Perhaps I can keep her," she thought. "She does talk a lot, but I can train her out of that habit. I can teach her and make a lady out of her." 4. Soon Marilla and Anne were in Mrs. Spencer's office. Marilla told her about the mistake and asked for an explanation. "I am sorry," Mrs. Spencer said. "I will make all the necessary arrangements. Soon you will take a boy from the children's home. For now, you can leave Anne here. Mrs. Blewett needs a girl to help her around the house. She has a big family with many children, you know." Marilla knew many awful things about Mrs. Blewett. She shouted at her children and beat them. Marilla's heart raced. She didn't want to give Anne to her. "I must talk to Matthew first," she said carefully. "I can't make this decision alone." Anne's unhappy face lit up immediately. Together they left the office and returned to Green Gables. Marilla and Matthew sat together in the kitchen. "Listen, Matthew," Marilla said, "I have never brought up a child before. I will try my best to make her into a good lady. But you have to follow one rule. Don't get in my way." "I understand," Matthew said. "You have made the right choice, Marilla. Anne is a nice girl. Just try to be good to her." The following morning, Anne asked Marilla, "What are you going to do to me? Are you going to send me back to the children's home?" "You can stay with us," Marilla replied, "but you must promise to always be good." Anne started crying. She was happy. "I promise," she said. 5. The following morning, Marilla gave Anne many tasks to do around the house. She also decided to send Anne to Sunday school as soon as possible. One day, a neighbor named Mrs. Rachel came to visit Marilla. When she saw Anne, she said, "She is too thin, and her hair is red like a carrot." That made Anne very angry. "You are a rude and impolite woman," she cried, "and also you are fat. I hate you." She ran to her room and closed the door. When Mrs. Rachel left, Marilla knocked on Anne's door quietly. "Anne, listen," she said. "Mrs. Rachel was very rude to you, but you must go and say sorry to her." "But I am not sorry," Anne cried. She refused to leave her room for the whole day. In the evening, Matthew came in to see her. "Anne, Mrs. Rachel was unkind to you," he said, "but she was Marilla's guest. You can't shout at her. Please go and say sorry to her." "I will do it because you asked me to," Anne replied. The next day, she and Marilla went to Mrs. Rachel's house. "I am awfully sorry for being rude to you," Anne said, with a lot of drama in her voice and manner. "I am sorry too, girl," Mrs. Rachel said with a smile. "I hope we can be friends." On their way home, Anne put her hand into Marilla's carefully. A soft, motherly smile appeared on the woman's face. "I am very pleased that Green Gables has become home to me," Anne said. 6. The only dress Anne owned was old and short. Marilla made her some new dresses. Also, she bought her a new hat. However, Anne didn't like any of those presents. In her opinion, they were not pretty enough. She was going to attend her first Sunday school class soon. She also had to go to church with Marilla. On Sunday, Marilla had a headache and stayed at home. Anne had to go alone. On her way, she noticed some lovely bright flowers by the road. She put some on her new hat to make it look prettier. At church, other children laughed quietly behind her back. "She is crazy," they said. Back at Green Gables, Marilla asked Anne about her day. "It was awful," Anne cried. "The service was long and boring, but the lesson at school was even worse. I was lucky to sit by the window. I could just daydream while the teacher was talking." She is right, Marilla thought. The service is usually a bit boring. "But I also learned about an upcoming party at Diana Barry's house," Anne added excitedly. "Can I go, Marilla?" "Certainly," Marilla replied. "I am sure Diana will like you. But you must be careful with her mother, Mrs. Barry. She hates it when children behave poorly." Fortunately, Diana and Anne liked each other immediately. They went for a walk in the garden. "Let's promise each other to be friends," Anne suggested. "We should stand over a river and join hands. Well, there is no river, but let's imagine that this rock is running water." Diana followed the instructions exactly. "I promise to be your loyal friend as long as the sun and moon shine in the sky," Anne said. Diana repeated the words and laughed. "You are a strange girl, Anne Shirley, but I think we will be friends," she said. At home, Anne spoke excitedly about Diana. She was very happy to finally find a friend. 7. The following Sunday, there was going to be a picnic at the church school. Anne asked for Marilla's permission to attend. When she was allowed to go, she threw herself into Marilla's arms and kissed her. Marilla had an old, beautiful brooch with an expensive stone. It was Marilla's most important possession. The day before the picnic, Marilla realized that the brooch was gone. "Did you take my brooch, Anne?" she asked. "I did, but then I put it back on your desk," Anne replied. Marilla searched the whole room again. The brooch was nowhere to be found. "Go to your room, Anne," she said angrily. "You will stay there until you tell me about my brooch." In the morning, she walked into Anne's room. The girl was sitting on the bed with her eyes wet and her face white. "All right, Marilla. I was playing with your brooch outside and it fell in the river," Anne explained. "I am very, very sorry. Can I go to the picnic now?" Marilla let out a low cry. "You are not going anywhere," she shouted, and ran out of the room. She could hear Anne cry. Marilla walked into her bedroom with a heavy heart. Then her eyes fell on her coat. The brooch was there, shining in the sunlight. She raced to Anne's room. "Anne, I am sorry," she said. "I have found my brooch. Why did you tell me that story?" "I wanted to go to the picnic," Anne explained. "You ordered me to tell you where the brooch was, didn't you? So I did." Marilla started laughing. "Get ready, Anne. You are going to the picnic." Anne went to the picnic and enjoyed herself. She seemed very pleased when she returned home in the evening. 8. Soon the summer vacation was over. Anne went to school. Marilla was worried about her, but Anne appeared to like school a lot. She was friendly with other school children. She was also the smartest student in her class. One day, a new boy appeared in school. "His name is Gilbert Blythe," Diana told Anne. "His family was away for the summer, and now he is back. He is the cleverest boy in the whole school. Also, he is so handsome. All the girls like him." Anne seemed to be the only girl who didn't care about Gilbert even a little bit. He noticed that, and it made him quite angry. One day he took her braid and pulled it hard, saying, "Carrots."
Part 2 is coming soon.
Hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more free audiobooks. And now, listen to another English story.